Oh, it still cracks me up about these little bottles. Hello and welcome to Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. I am Mr. Randy, and today we're going to be doing another Final Pour episode. If you're new to the channel, hello, welcome, come on in. Get comfortable, let's have a drink, shall we? A drink on me. All my returning viewers, you know how we do. Always beautiful to see you. Come on in, let's do it to it, shall we? So today's Final Pour episode is going to be, we're going to be signing off on this little 375 Weller Special Reserve coming in at, it's not gonna give me any joy on this one. I promise I'll figure this out after this video. But it is 45% alcohol by volume, which is 90 proof. It's the original wheated bourbon. Now, if you know Mr. Randy, he doesn't really care for wheated bourbons, even though we have the whole fiasco with the Maker's Mark, okay? For those who don't know, I drank Maker's Mark exclusively for 7 years. Nothing else. No other libation. Not even a beer. I went pretty much all alcohol free for a few years. And then one of my classmates, I was in class for HVAC and stuff like that, and he brought to our final class, he brought a bottle, a full sealed bottle, and a half bottle of the Maker's Mark. And he said he was just done with it. He wanted to celebrate. He was happy. He was like, hey, look, guys, there was only like 7 of us left in the class of 30. We started with 30. And over a year, it whittled down to about 7 of us. And there's only 6 other people. So it was him, me, and 5 other people. And someone snagged that full bottle before I could. But then he had that half one and nobody wanted it. And then he told me, he said, hey, it's freshly cracked. It's only been, drank down by a couple of weeks. So I said, okay. I said, never had a Maker's Mark and was willing to try it. And I hadn't had any, that's fine. That's fine. Haven't had any in such a while. This is the W.L. Weller. It's in the, I guess more the Superior Buffalo Trace line from the Buffalo Trace Distillery. When I started my channel, I haven't seen any Wellers. I did see a red label. The what is it? The 107, the antique 107, and I got it. It was for retail, but I passed on it because I wanted. What did I want? I wanted something else. I asked for a Buffalo Trace, and he brought out the antique 107, and I was like, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I was there for. I should have taken it at the time. But I can still get about any Weller that's out there, including that white label, which I understand. This is the only thing I know about Weller is the green. I know there's the red, there's the white, there's like 7 different expressions. But anywho, Mr. Randy does a 3-part series to his reviews. Part 1, off the rip, get it home, crack it open. Share my first pour with you because, gosh darn it, I love you. Part 2, full review time. Drink it down halfway. We stop, cork it, put it back on the shelf, let it sit. This is a 375, so it sat for about a week and a half. And I went online, got some information, came back. We talked about it. I scored it. We continue to drink it. Part 3, final pour episode, where we're at today. We take this final pour, we compare it to the first pour off the rip and everything in between. Breathe. Oh. Yeah, I'm going to work on this formatting. Maybe try and find a better setup or whatnot. Sometimes, like I said, I just grab this, threw it in the background, set up the camera, set up the microphone, and just do it to it, On the nose, yes, Buffalo Trace, that signature Buffalo Trace series. Let's talk about that for a second, shall we? So what is that signature Buffalo Trace note that you get on the nose? It's sweet, it's soft, it's caramel. It's a perfect blending of the oak, the vanilla, the spice, the caramel. It's like Coca-Cola. They have that special recipe. I keep turning and talking to the mic like I'm talking to you because that's how you hear me. Anywho, it does have a nice nose, and I do believe I would prefer the second half of this bottle as to the first. This would be probably a perfect candidate if you wanted to take a bottle and you wanted to split it in half with another empty bottle. That way you don't get all that rough harshness off the first half of the bottle. You can split this bottle and let it sit on the shelf for about a week, week and a half, and let it off gas. I would recommend maybe every day or maybe a few times a week uncorking it, uncapping it, and letting it off gas a little bit, and then putting it back on and letting it sit. That way it'll mellow out, and that way about a week later, I'd say a week would be just fine for a 375. You could pour all that back in the same bottle, or you can have 2 half bottles, and that's where it's at, y'all. That's where it's at. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I need to... Anywho, let's go ahead and get that first initial palating on the way. Oh yeah. That is much, much mellow, much more softer on the final pour than off the rip. It doesn't have that high punchy spiciness that off the rip did. But now it's really smooth. It's really easy to drink. Now that we got that out of the way, I think we're ready for that next one. That was relatively quick for that one. All right, so let's go ahead and get that one done. Ooh. It's Buffalo Trace. So it was made at Buffalo Trace Distillery, so you know it's got some good viscosity. Can I just say I don't really particularly care for the benchmark line. As I've gotten more and more attuned to whiskeys and libations, the more understanding, more education I give myself about these libations, the more I understand why a single distillery will put out a multitude of lines. So yeah, you started off with the Buffalo Trace, then you had the Eagle Rare, then you had the E.H. Taylor Small Batch, and then there on so on, so on, so on, and so forth. Then you had the Blantons. I watched a video the other day that made a whole lot of sense about why one distillery will do so. So sometimes they'll pull a few barrels and they'll check it. And they need to make some sales up for that quarter. So what they'll do is they'll bottle it if it's good enough to sell. They may bottle a few barrels that they're testing. They may just mix that in a vat, bottle it, label it, give it like some generic off-brand label like Benchmark, put it on the shelf and see if it sells. As soon as people know that, hey, that's a Benchmark product. Oh, I'm sorry, not a Benchmark. I'm sorry. They see the Benchmark and they say, hey, that's a Buffalo Trace product. They will buy it. They will try it. And then they can gauge whether or not they can sell those few bottles that they pull, the barrels that they pull to test. And then they can mix those barrels. Let's say you could do a bottling of, say, 1,000 barrels. Let's say you've got 1,200 barrels, but you've got a contract or a deal, or maybe the bottling company say, hey, the most capacity that we could have for you is 1,000 bottles. So, you've got, 1,000 barrels. You've got 1,200. So what do you do with the remaining 200? Well, maybe you slap them on a different label. Maybe you mix it into a previous, maybe every time you do that not we call it a harvest, but every time you do that run, you have a few barrels left over. So eventually you've got 200, 200, 200, 200, enough to do 1,000 bottles from those leftover barrels. You mix those. Maybe it doesn't come out to taste like anything else you've bottled, so put a different label on the bottle. There you go. That's my theory. Anyways, let's go ahead and do this finish. If you liked the video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. And if you learned something today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. As I'm learning these things, I will be sharing them with you. So you always want to make sure that you get these videos as soon as they're uploaded. That's a nice finish. It's very easy, very smooth. I'm getting some nice mellow spice with some caramel oak with vanilla sort of on the back end. Not a whole lot of heat building up on the back end. It's a little warmth. It's nice, comfortable warmth. I'm getting some tongue action, some roof of the mouth action. Cheeks are really kicking it right now. Even got some going on in the gums. Even just a light kiss on the lips. This is hitting every base. I keep looking and talking to the microphone. This is nice. Nice. Yes, this is very nice. This is a nice bottle. This is better than I actually expected it to. That's quite honesty right there. I didn't expect a whole lot out of this Weller Special Reserve. I've seen this in a 1.75 liter. Barely have I seen it in the 750. So it's either the 375s or the 1.75s. I don't know what's up with that. Where's the 750s? It's either okay to try or it's so dang good for you, you buy the Juggo juice. Yes, I'm still getting plenty of juiciness. The heat on the back end is now starting to prevail. It's starting to come out as the king of the hill, while everything else is sort of slumping down. That heat in the back is, I don't want to say it's going up, it's like holding steady, while everything else behind it falls off. That's pretty nice. I think this finish is going to last a little while longer, so I will not keep you. In the comment section, let me know where in the world you're at. I'd like to know what you're drinking recently. And yeah, have you had a Weller? If you've had a Green Label Weller, let me know. Does your palating and does everything that you have about this Green Label, does it match up to mine? How well does it match up to mine? Let's talk about it. If you've had another Weller beyond the green one, tell me about it, because I'd like to know. I might just smack out that red one pretty soon. There it is. As always, thanks for stopping by here at Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. Definitely a good one.